Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Modi assures safety of all Indians in the Gulf amid West Asia conflict. He slams the opposition for their politics in the midst of this major global crisis. India secures LNG from new sources, and 2 cargoes are en route after that interministerial meeting on energy. And the Kremlin has deepened ties with Iran, signaling a readiness to stabilize the West Asia situation amid active diplomatic outreach. Our top story, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Kerala today and he inaugurated and laid the foundation stone for various major development projects. These include industrial, highway, railway, renewable energy initiatives aimed at boosting connectivity, employment and also sustainable growth in the state. Let's look at this report.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday inaugurated and dedicated to the nation, laid the foundation stone for development projects in Ernakulam, Kerala, boosting rail and road infrastructure and strengthening connectivity in the region. The projects span sectors including energy, highways and rural connectivity and will accelerate development in the region.
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पर लगने वाला हर रुपया नए रोजगार का सृजन करता है। ये जितने भी प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, इनसे केरलम के हजारों नौजवानों को नए रोजगार मिलने वाले हैं। मुझे पूरा भरोसा है कि ये सभी प्रोजेक्ट विकसित केरलम के हमारे संकल्प को सिद्ध करने में अहम भूमिका निभाएंगे।
Prime Minister inaugurated the 6th laning of the Talapadi, Chengala and Vengalam Ramanattukara sections of NH66. He also inaugurated 23 roads constructed under National Rural Connectivity Scheme to strengthen rural livelihoods. 3 railway stations developed under a National Modernization Scheme, Kottipuram, Changanasari and Shoranur Junction were also inaugurated by Prime Minister. PM laid the foundation stone for polypropylene unit at Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, Kochi Refinery and a 50 megawatt floating solar project at West Kallada. Prime Minister also dedicated to the nation Shoranur Nilambar Road Railway Line Electrification Project and flagged off a new train service between Palakkad and Pollachi, strengthening rail connectivity between Kerala and Tamil Nadu.
These projects are expected to boost development in the region, strengthen the vision of Viksit Kerala and self-reliant India as the country moves towards becoming a developed nation by 2047. With camera person Anil Thakur, this is Siddharth Bharadwaj reporting for DD India in Kerala, Ernakulam.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday launched multiple development projects in Tamil Nadu. The initiatives span energy, manufacturing, roads and railways. They are aimed at boosting infrastructure and connectivity across Tamil Nadu. The Prime Minister laid the foundation stone of the Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited City Gas Distribution Network. This was in the Nilgiris and Erode districts. And further, the Prime Minister also dedicated to the nation the Indian Oil Corporation's lube blending plant and inaugurated 89 rural road projects. Prime Minister also flagged off 5 new train services, including 2 Amrit Bharat Expresses. And while addressing the people there at Tiruchirappalli, he said that the government is fully dedicated to the welfare and development of the people of Tamil Nadu. Let's listen.
Our goal is to create a developed Tamil Nadu for a developed nation. The central government is fully committed to the welfare of the people of Tamil Nadu. We are working day and night for the state's progress, and we will continue to do so.
Amid the ongoing crisis in West Asia, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has assured that the government is making every possible effort to ensure the safety and swift return of Indian citizens stranded in the region. The government is closely monitoring the situation and coordinating with authorities to facilitate safe evacuation and assistance for Indians in affected regions. So the Prime Minister, in fact, let's listen to what the Prime Minister said.
गल्फ में वेस्ट एशिया में जो कुछ हो रहा है उससे आप सभी का चिंतित होना बहुत स्वाभाविक है। हमारे लाखों भाई बहन वहां काम करते हैं, लेकिन साथियों आपको याद रखना है आज देश में बीजेपी एनडीए की सरकार है। जब भी हमारा कोई देशवासी संकट में पड़ा हमने उसे सुरक्षित बचाने के लिए पूरी ताकत लगा दी। आज का भारत अपने नागरिकों को संकट में अकेला नहीं छोड़ता। आज भी हमारा प्रयास है कि युद्ध के हालत में फंसे भारतीयों को सुरक्षा मिले, हर संभव सुविधा मिले। मुझे संतोष है कि गल्फ के हमारे सभी मित्र देशों की सरकारें भी हमारे देश के नागरिकों का पूरा ध्यान रख रही है। मैं उन सभी सरकारों का भी आभारी हूं।
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that India has taken consistent steps over the years to reduce its dependence on other nations in the energy sector.
एंडे सौहृदगढ़े गल्फ में चल रहे युद्ध में हमें आत्मनिर्भरता का महत्व भी फिर से समझाया है। एनर्जी हो या फिर अन्य सेक्टर, भारत हर क्षेत्र में आत्मनिर्भर बनने का प्रयास कर रहा है। एनर्जी सेक्टर में हमारी निर्भरता दूसरे देशों पर कम से कम हो, इसके लिए बीते सालों से लगातार कदम उठाए गए। भारत ने अपनी सोलर पावर कैपेसिटी बढ़ाई है। पेट्रोल डीजल पर निर्भरता कम हो, इसके लिए बहुत बड़े पैमाने पर इलेक्ट्रिक बसों और अन्य इलेक्ट्रिक गाड़ियों पर बल दिया जा रहा है।
Meanwhile, India's Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas briefed the media in New Delhi on Wednesday regarding the government's preparedness on LPG supply in the country.
Procurement through alternative routes and supplies is underway to offset this disruption, and our gas companies have procured LNG cargoes from their new sources, and 2 LNG cargoes are on their way to the country. To manage this situation effectively, the government has issued a natural gas control order on 9th under Essential Commodities Act.
The Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas has informed that the government is taking steps to ensure uninterrupted supply of LPG and that there is no need to worry.
ये एक वैश्विक चुनौतीपूर्ण स्थिति है, लेकिन भारत की ईंधन आपूर्ति नियंत्रण में है। सरकार स्थिति पर लगातार नजर रख रही है और घरों और प्राथमिकता वाले क्षेत्रों की सुरक्षा के लिए आवश्यक कदम उठा रही है। हम नागरिकों से आग्रह करते हैं कि वे घबराकर बुकिंग करने से बचें, अधिकारियों के साथ सहयोग करें और वैश्विक अनिश्चितता की इस अवधि के दौरान जहां संभव हो ईंधन का संरक्षण करें।
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar spoke to Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. The leaders shared assessments on the West Asia conflict and related diplomatic efforts. They also took stock of their bilateral cooperation agenda. On Indian casualties in West Asia conflict, the Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Ranveer Jaiswal said that there have been reports of some casualties. A few Indians who have suffered injuries in the GCC region are being treated, and the Indian consulate is in touch with them.
We have 2 Indian nationals whom we lost, and 1 remains missing. We express our condolences to the families. We also, these three Indian nationals, they have died or they are missing. This happened when they were on ships, merchant vessels, and that merchant vessel came under attack.
As the conflict continues, on day 11, 3 vessels have been hit by unknown projectiles in the Strait of Hormuz, bringing the number of ships struck in the region since the Iran conflict began to at least 14. Iran's Revolutionary Guard said that they had struck a Liberia-flagged vessel as well as a Thai bulk carrier in the Strait of Hormuz after they ignored warnings to stop. Iran's Revolutionary Guard have warned that any passing ship through the strait will be targeted. US President Donald Trump has threatened to ramp up US attacks on Iran if it continues to obstruct the strait. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most active sea routes for oil tankers ferrying petroleum products for multiple global destinations, and it has been under severe stress ever since the conflict involving Israel, US and Iran broke out in the Gulf region. Amid the uncertainties and disruption, DD India's Vinod Kumar files this report from Ground Zero.
The Strait of Hormuz sits between Iran to the north and the Musandam Peninsula to the south, a territory shared between Oman and the United Arab Emirates. The strait stretches around 178 kilometers in length, narrowing to approximately 39 kilometers at its tightest point. On a normal day, around 20 million barrels of oil pass through it. That is roughly 1 in every 5 barrels consumed anywhere on the planet. It is the single most important oil transit choke point in the world. Right now, it is barely functioning. Despite its constriction, the strait is deep and relatively free of maritime hazards, with its greatest depth near the Musandam Peninsula in Oman. To manage the volume of traffic through such constrained waters, the International Maritime Organization operates a traffic separation scheme consisting of 2 designated shipping lines, 1 inbound and 1 outbound, each roughly 2 miles wide, with a 2-mile buffer zone in between them. Iran maintains naval and air bases on several islands within and near to the strait. Since the start of the conflict on 28th of February, tanker traffic through the strait has fallen by around 90%. Most ships are sitting anchored in open water and waiting. At least 8 to 10 commercial vessels have been reported to damaged or struck by drones, missiles or explosive surface craft across the strait, the Gulf of Oman and surrounding waters. Iran has blockaded the strait for most ships and attacked at least 10 vessels attempting to transit the waterway. GPS jamming is compounding the danger, making safe navigation treacherous even if ships are not being directly targeted. What happens in this narrow stretch of water does not stray in West Asia. It lands on kitchen tables around the world. This is Vinod Kumar for DD India.
And authorities have confirmed that 2 drones fell in the vicinity of Dubai International Airport, resulting in minor injuries to 2 Ghanaian nationals and 1 Bangladeshi national, and an Indian citizen suffered moderate injuries. Air traffic was operating normally after that. Investigations were underway to determine the circumstances surrounding the incident, said a statement on the Dubai media office. In Lebanon, explosions rocked the southern suburbs of Beirut as Israel carried out fresh airstrikes on Wednesday. Thick smoke was seen rising over the capital following overnight attacks. The Israeli military ordered residents of the mainly Shiite area of Dahiyeh and other parts of southern as well as eastern Lebanon to evacuate. Lebanese authorities say that nearly 570 people have been killed by Israeli strikes since the clashes with Hezbollah escalated earlier in the month. Still to come here on DD India Live. The UK is going to publish documents on Mendelssohn's appointment. And 6 people are reported dead in a bus fire in Switzerland.
और फिरदौस बर्रुएज समी است.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Mark Lynn. The G7 nations are moving closer to releasing strategic oil reserves to counter rising crude prices caused by the ongoing US-Israel conflict with Iran. Energy ministers said that they are ready to take all necessary measures to stabilize global energy markets. The discussions come ahead of a virtual G7 leaders meeting, which is chaired by Emmanuel Macron. Germany has announced that they're going to be releasing part of their oil reserve with the aim to bring down the global oil prices. Japan, too, has said that the decision to release oil reserves unilaterally is aimed at responding swiftly, as Japan would suffer the greatest impact from the Strait of Hormuz closure. The International Energy Agency is expected to recommend releasing 400 million barrels of oil from strategic reserves. That's the largest release in its history to help control soaring crude prices. According to sources, the oil is going to be released over at least 2 months. The Paris-based agency was expected to announce the recommendation before that G7 leaders meeting that we talked about, chaired by Emmanuel Macron. Now, if approved, this move would surpass that 182.7 million barrels that the IEA had asked its member countries to release in 2022 following the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And amid the looming global energy crisis, the European Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen, she said that the EU is preparing options to lower energy prices, including the better use of power purchasing agreements, state aid measures, and gas price subsidies.
It is crucial that we reduce the cost impact when gas sets the electricity price. Therefore, we are preparing different options, better use of power purchase agreements and contracts for difference, state aid measures, and we are exploring subsidizing or even capping the gas price. But it is also true that some member states are taxing electricity much higher even than gas. To give you another example, one member state applies 0% taxes, on retail electricity, while some others apply over 16%. That makes a difference. So there is room for action, and as I said, it is a national competence.
Amid all the developments, oil prices have rebounded on Wednesday, and the markets had doubted whether the International Energy Agency's reported plan for a record release of oil reserves could offset the potential supply shocks from the US-Israeli conflict with Iran. Brent crude futures, they traded at about $91.32 US a barrel. That's up about $3.52 US a barrel. Now, both contracts, they've extended losses in early Asian trade after plunging more than 11% on Tuesday, despite the US crude prices leaping 5% in the market's opening. But according to media reports, the IEA's proposed drawdown, it's going to exceed that 182 million barrels of oil that the IEA member countries had put on the market in 2022, as we said earlier. Countries across Asia, they have sourced their petroleum products from the Gulf nations and many Asian countries. These include Pakistan, Vietnam, Thailand, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, among others, have announced a slew of measures that they are going to cut fuel consumption as the West Asia war has disrupted supplies.
Amid volatility in global oil markets due to tensions in the West Asia and related supply constraints, governments across Asia have announced a slew of measures to cut fuel consumption. In the Philippines, President Ferdinand Marcos announced a 4-day government work week to save fuel. Filipinos consumers have been hit with a series of staggered price increases from Tuesday. The price of diesel, which powers the Philippines' public buses and ubiquitous jeepneys, has affected the working margins.
It's really hard. We are affected. For us riders, an increase of 1 or 2 pesos in gas prices is already too much for us. It affects our profit.
Vietnam initially resisted dipping into its fuel price stabilization fund as petrol rose 21% and diesel spiked by more than 50%. At a meeting of the country's Energy Security Task Force on Tuesday, however, the Prime Minister agreed to draw from emergency fund.
Rising fuel prices are a big concern for ordinary people like us. There are already so many difficulties. Our salaries are not increasing, but fuel prices keep going up, which I find very worrying for our people's livelihoods.
In Sri Lanka, retail fuel prices increased after a revision by the state-owned Ceylon Petroleum Corporation came into effect from Tuesday. The new pricing structure has raised fuel cost by around 7 to 8%, with an increase of at least 24 rupees per litre. The move is part of ongoing efforts by Sri Lanka to stabilize its finances following the severe economic crisis in 2022. However, Sri Lankan authorities said they will not curb economic activity to cut fuel consumption despite surging global oil prices linked to tensions in the Middle East. Cabinet spokesman Dr. Nalinda Jetsa told reporters that the government expects to maintain a continuous fuel supply and does not plan to close schools, universities or introduce widespread work-from-home measures to reduce fuel use. Bangladesh government has introduced fuel rationing. Bangladesh Petroleum Corporation has limited fuel sales for most vehicles. Bangladesh imports nearly 95% of its oil and gas needs. Authorities have also capped fuel purchases for several vehicles after panic buying and hoarding led to long queues at fuel stations across the country. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif announced sweeping cuts to government fuel use and spending. All schools will close for a fortnight starting next week, while universities will shift to online classes immediately to reduce commuting. Government departments will face a 50% cut in fuel allowances for 2 months, and 60% of official vehicles, excluding buses and ambulances, will be taken off the road. In South Korea, motorists rushed to fill up with petrol at a gas station in Seoul after a price of crude spiked due to the US-Israeli war against Iran. President Lee Jae-myung said that authorities would cap domestic fuel prices for the first time in nearly 30 years to contain a spike in prices after the conflict in the Middle East sent global crude prices sharply higher. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, the UK government has published on Wednesday the first documents covering the appointment of Peter Mandelson as the ambassador to Washington, reviving questions about Prime Minister Keir Starmer's judgment in employing a man close to Jeffrey Epstein. The publication of the first tranche of documents covering the vetting of Mandelson under police investigation for allegedly leaking government documents to the late offender does little to reduce the pressure on Starmer, who is under fire over the appointment and a series of policy U-turns. Starmer's allies have sought to play down the importance of the first set of documents, saying an ongoing police investigation meant some of the more revealing exchanges were being withheld. At least 6 people have been reported dead in an accident where a bus caught fire in the Swiss town of Crezes. This bus had caught fire a little away from the capital on Tuesday. Now, officials are investigating the cause of the fire, though initially it was believed to be a deliberate act by a passenger inside the bus who poured gasoline on his body and set himself on fire, according to an injured person's statement recorded on video. So according to a Swiss official, the identification of 6 people who died could take several days, adding that they are not sure whether the suspected person who started the fire is among the victims. Let's take a look at other news. The Swiss startup ClearSpace is developing technology to capture defunct satellites and deorbit them, aiming to create a new industry for in-orbit servicing, refueling and debris removal. The company is working on a mission with a UK space agency to safely remove 2 non-functioning satellites from low Earth orbit. That's good work. The Hanoi Museum is hosting an exhibition that recreates homes and collective housing from the 1940s and 1950s. Visitors can explore life in old Hanoi through detailed displays of everyday living spaces, offering a glimpse into the city's past and its cultural heritage. In Indonesia, street performers dressed as superheroes, they distributed free iftar snacks to motorists and pedestrians in Bandung during Ramadan. Now, families and commuters said that this gesture helped ease long journeys through heavy traffic. Organizers say the initiative reflects the spirit of sharing during Ramadan and also hopes that this is going to inspire more acts of charity. The Board of Control for Cricket in India, they've announced a schedule for the first phase of the Indian Premier League 2026. The opening phase of the 19th edition of this tournament will be played from March 28 to April 12. And they're going to have 20 matches scheduled across 10 venues in the country. The matches in the first phase will be played in Bengaluru, Mumbai, Guwahati, New Chandigarh, Lucknow, Kolkata, Chennai, Delhi, Ahmedabad and Hyderabad. And now we leave you with visuals of North India's Srinagar, where spring has arrived and almond blossoms are blooming across the Badamwari market. And well, the historic garden has turned pink and white, drawing visitors. They are witnessing this seasonal spectacle. Thank you very much for watching. Namaskar.